A potential trade war between Colombia and the United States is averted over the weekend. President Trump had threatened to impose tariffs against Colombia after that country originally refused to accept flights carrying deported migrants. Colombia has now reversed course and is accepting those flights. I want to bring in CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez for more on this. So just so people understand, Camilo, why did Colombia initially refuse to accept these flights, given that they had accepted some 500 flights over the last couple of years?
Well, Vlad, this incident really underscores and illustrates how aggressively the Trump administration is willing to really go to implement its crackdown on illegal immigration and the immigration system across the board. We do know, obviously, to level set here, that Colombia has been accepting U.S. deportations for years, including under the Biden administration. However, they were usually conducted on civilian aircraft. And the Trump administration over the weekend, Vlad, tried to carry out 2 deportation flights to Colombia, to Bogota, the capital, on 2 military aircraft. That is part of that broader effort by the Trump administration to increase the role that the military plays in border and immigration enforcement. In addition to deploying troops, the administration is also using military aircraft like C-17s to deport people to countries like Guatemala. They tried to do the same with Colombia, but the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, Vlad, said that he objected to the use of military planes because he believed that signaled that migrants were being treated as criminals and delinquents, and that was not a dignified and humane process for migrants. So initially, after accepting the flights, the government of Colombia rejected them. But obviously, following that, the president here, President Trump, threatened punishing and swift sanctions on Colombia, including tariffs and visa limits. And after that, obviously, the Colombian government now has fully agreed to accept deportation flights, we are told, including a military aircraft. So this really does illustrate how much of a focus this issue will be for the Trump administration on the foreign affairs stage, Vlad.
Camilo, we're also learning that the administration is developing an asylum agreement with El Salvador that would allow the U.S. to deport migrants to the country, even if they're not from there. Tell me about that.
That's right. We have exclusively learned here at CBS News, Vlad, that the Trump administration is working on developing an asylum agreement with the country of El Salvador to be able to send non-Salvadorian migrants to that small Central American country. This would be called a Safe Third Country Asylum Agreement, and it would empower U.S. immigration officials, including at the U.S.-Mexico border, Vlad, to essentially block people from seeking asylum in the U.S. and instead instruct them to seek asylum in El Salvador, which would be designated a safe third country for asylum seekers. Importantly, we are told that one plan under internal consideration, Vlad, would allow the U.S. to deport Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang members, suspected gang members from Venezuela to El Salvador, and have that country incarcerate them there in that Central American country. And so this would be a pretty significant development as Venezuela right now, Vlad, rejects U.S. deportation. So it would be a way for the Trump administration to address that migrant population that right now cannot be deported to their own home country. But obviously this could face legal challenges from pro-immigrant advocates.
Camilo, we know that there have been, yesterday alone, some nearly 1,000 arrests of migrants, undocumented migrants in the United States, which is significantly up from previous days. The president and the administration say that they're going after violent criminals, people who have broken the law excessively. How does our reporting bear witness to that? Are they accurate in suggesting that, you're not seeing people who are law-abiding, moms and children, or are they really what the administration is saying, which is these violent criminal offenders, at least initially?
Well, Vlad, the Trump administration is laying the groundwork to oversee what the president has promised will be the largest deportation effort in American history. But to answer your question directly, it is really important to underscore that Immigration and Customs Enforcement right now is still mainly targeting undocumented immigrants who also have criminal convictions or charges and who are deemed to pose a threat to public safety or national security, just like under the Biden administration. However, the big change now, Vlad, is that the ICE agents right now who are going on these operations are no longer prohibited from arresting other non-criminal migrants who are in the country illegally, but who lack criminal records during these operations. So, for example, if they target an undocumented immigrant who has a criminal record, but they also find that that person is living with somebody who is also in the country illegally, but who is not a criminal, that second person can also be arrested now. That is a seismic shift from Biden administration policy, Vlad, that generally limited immigration enforcement to serious criminals and national security threats.
Very interesting. All right, Camilo Montoya-Galvez for us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.